Significant and Strange, a Twin Peaks rewatch podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Kim.
And I have a bit of news, although it's kind of annoying. Well, okay, so I only found this just before we started, and it's a GQ article entitled Why Twin Peaks Transcends Time and Space, which sounds kind of interesting. Fortunately, you need to subscribe to see the rest of it, so I can read the opening paragraph. But apparently they're talking to the author of a new Twin Peaks history called A Place Both Wonderful and Strange, and that's Scott Meslow. So that might be something to look out for in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I've got for news this time. How about you?
No, I don't have any news, I'm afraid.
Ah, dang it. Well, I suppose it's an old series, so who knows? Anyway, so I suppose we should venture over towards an episode for which I do not understand why it's called what it is.
Cooper's Dreams.
Cooper's Dreams, and Dale Cooper spends the entire episode awake and doesn't have one dream in it, so what? Anyway, directed by Leslie Linker Glatter and written by Mark Frost, and first broadcast on the 10th of May 1990. So, our guest, actors of the day, none of which have interesting romantic tendencies again, so, you know, still not getting quite to the level of Prince and Jack Nicholson. But we've got James Marshall, who played James Hurley. The literal only other thing I recognise on his credits is A Few Good Men.
Oh, okay.
But more interestingly is Everett McGill, who is Big Ed. So he was in June, and License to Kill, and The People Under the Stairs, which we'll come back to for reasons.
Okay.
Well, you know the reason why. Who's his wife in People Under the Stairs?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Under Siege 2. And interestingly enough, David Lynch pulled him out of retirement for Twin Peaks The Revival.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he came back just to do that.
That's neat.
And we've got Jack Nance, who is also sadly passed away, who is Pete Martell.
Yeah, really tragically passed away as well.
Really tragically passed away. But it's like, trying to see a theme here in the films I picked out. So who's in? Eraserhead, June, Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart, and Lost Highway.
Is the theme all David Lynch movies?
Yes, but also The Blob is the 1998 version. But I thought it's quite funny that he's in basically almost every David Lynch film.
Yeah. I think also, sadly, because of his death, he's one of the few characters that don't make it to the revival as well.
Yes, although there are a few of them that could be in the revival and just aren't. Like, Josie doesn't make it to the revival for apparently no good reason.
Oh, okay.
I think she was actually kind of upset no one asked her.
That's a shame.
It is. And we know a few other people get short shrift, and it's we'll deal with it when we get to it, because that's way down the line. But, interestingly, I will sort of bring that up in a minute after you've done the synopsis, because I have a theory. It's a stupid theory, but it's the theory.
Interesting.
Anyway, would you like to tell us about Cooper's Dreams, where, again, he stays wide awake the entire time and has no dreams?
I shall, but shall we let the log lady give her introduction first?
Sure.
So, I'll keep saying it, but as we've said previously, this is from the rebroadcast version, which every episode was given an introduction that wasn't on the original broadcast, which is presented by the log lady herself. I play my part on life's stage. I can tell what I can to form the perfect answer, but that answer cannot come before all are ready to hear. So I tell what I can to form the perfect answer. Sometimes my anger at the fire is evident. Sometimes it is not anger, really. It may appear as such, but could it be a clue? The fire I speak of is not a kind fire. Our episode opens this time when Cooper is woken up at 4 a.m. by a loud party held by a bunch of Icelandic investors. These are new investors, not the original lot, who are interested in Jerry and Benjamin's property development project. Cooper is still short-tempered the following morning when he just dismisses Audrey's flirtation offhand and heads off to meet up with the other police officers. As Ben and Jerry meet to talk about the investment, Leyland Palmer also arrives. He doesn't seem entirely himself, quite understandably, and the Horns send him home, even though he tells them he wants to work because he needs to take his mind off things. Meanwhile, Cooper, Sheriff Truman, and Dr. Hayward all meet to discuss Leo Johnson's bloody shirt. They learn that the blood is not Laura's, but does match the same blood type as Jack Renault's. Shelley and Bobby Briggs are having breakfast together, Bobby having spent the night as Leo was not there. The two of them roleplay the idea of shooting Leo while they play around with Shelley's pistol. Andy arrives at the house to inquire about Leo's whereabouts. Bobby Briggs hides when he arrives, and Shelley does her best to make Leo seem like he's deeply involved in Laura's death, as well as John Renault's disappearance. Meanwhile, Ed Hurley and Norman Jennings meet to discuss their spouses. Hank has now been released from prison on parole, while Dean is becoming increasingly mentally unwell. Norma leaves, feeling things that are going nowhere, which leaves Big Ed utterly miserable. In our next plot thread, Audrey Horne is interviewed for a job at the department store and manages to blackmail the interviewer into giving her a permission at the perfume counter. As we previously know, this is where both Laura Palmer and Renette Pawlowski worked. Madeline meets up with James and Donna at the Double R Diner to discuss Laura Palmer's death. They believe that Laura had a secret diary that she hid somewhere in her home and want Madeline to look for it for them. They leave the restaurant as Norma and Shelley arrive, and we see that Hank is seated at the table alongside them, and has apparently heard everything that Madeline, James and Donna has been discussing. He does pull Norma to one side and asks if he can start working there in order to regain her trust. Cooper, Truman, Hawk and Doc Hayward all go in search of a cabin that Cooper found a picture of in Jock Renault's apartment. They do find a cabin, not the correct one, and discover it's where the log lady lives. At long last, the log lady reveals that her log is ready to say what she saw on the night of Laura Palmer's death, either speaking through the log lady or just the log lady recounting what she heard, depending on how sentient we believe this log is. The log recounts that it heard 5 voices and saw lights on a nearby ridge at the time of the murder. There were the voices of 2 girls and 3 men. The police immediately assume that this was Laura and Renette for the girls, but that leaves the question of who the 3rd man was if the other 2 were Leo and Jock. They do eventually find a 2nd log cabin up on the ridge, one that does match the photographs, and they quickly determine that this could be the scene of the murder. Cooper manages to find a broken casino chip from One-Eyed Jack's that matches the piece they found in Laura Palmer's stomach, and they also find Waldo, the missing minor bird, which belongs to Jock Renault. Bobby Briggs attends a family counselling session with Dr. Jacoby. Bobby is initially very reluctant to take part in this. However, when Jacoby talks to him alone, isolated from his parents, he manages to cause Bobby to break down. Bobby confesses that Laura had told him that she wanted to die, that she had pressured Bobby into dealing drugs so she could use them herself, and often spoke about how she kind of fell into this dark place often that she was struggling to come back from. Back at the Great Northern, there is a party in full swing with the new Icelandic investors. During this, Benjamin and Catherine Martell secretly discuss the plan to burn down the sawmill. This is going to occur the following night, but Benjamin first wants to give Josie one last chance just to sell it before they have to, essentially, scorch the earth. As they talk, they're unaware that Audrey is spying on them. As Pennsylvania 65000 begins to play, Leyland Palmer, who has also attended the party, has a complete breakdown and begins sobbing hysterically and dancing. Catherine Martell tries to mitigate this under Benjamin's duress by dancing with him and covering for the fact that it is a breakdown, making it just look like an elaborate dance number. Benjamin heads to his office and finds Josie waiting for him in the dark. It's revealed that the two of them are also having an affair. She has stolen the other logbook that Catherine hid in her desk in a previous episode and has now given it to Benjamin, though we don't know what the outcome of this kind of turnabout will be. Madeline calls Donna from the Palmer household in the dead of the night to inform her that she found a tape hidden in Laura's bedpost. Shelley waits at home with Bobby's gun for Leo Johnson to arrive. As Leo does arrive back home, he's attacked by Hank, who's waiting for him, who threatens him. Beaten, he walks inside and takes out his anger on Shelley, who immediately draws the gun and shoots him. In our final scene, Cooper comes back to the Great Northern and is already put out by the sound of singing Icelanders. As he arrives in his room, he realises the door is ajar and he pulls his gun. As he turns on the light, he sees that Audrey Horne is waiting nakedly in his bed. She begs him to let her stay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel I'm going to start with Josie, just because, again, all I can put this down to is there's a very weird continuity error in the editing, and I don't quite understand how they managed to do this.
What's this?
But smoking in Ben Hunt's office.
Yes.
And then Ben Hunt meets with Catherine and says, meet me in my office in like 30 seconds or something. And she walks straight off to his office. And it's there, but we just saw Josie in there. And then she's not there. And then she appears a little bit later after Ben then goes back into the office. And it's something we'll have to get into much later, but there's that's almost a weird foreshadowing for something for Josie, that she's not visible in the hotel anymore.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Put a pin in that. We're going to say, I think this is a mistake, but it kind of capitalized weirdly. I don't quite understand why. But if we start with Josie, good God, the mechanics of whatever's going on with the mill is becoming hugely more complicated, and Ben is basically playing everyone against themselves, it seems.
I love this because this, as we've previously noted, at its core, Twin Peaks is a soap opera.
Yes.
And this is the most soap opera plot we've got going. Just with who is double and triple and quadruple crossing who in this sawmill plot.
Yeah, and we don't know. We can only imagine that. Well, I don't think Josie should trust Ben because I think he's going to cheat her out of anything as well. But this is clearly an attempt to cut Catherine out of whatever they're going to get from this arson attack and selling the land off to the Ghostwood project.
Yeah.
I think this is only an idea that's occurred to them now. I don't think this has been on the cards from the start. Just because Josie staking out the motel room doesn't make a lot of sense if she's already integrated into the plot.
Yeah, true.
So this is a twist that wasn't intended. But again, I don't think anyone had any idea where this was going when they set it up. Like, some of the best stuff, or some of the worst stuff, it depends. But yeah, so Josie, there's now an edge to Josie I don't think we knew about before, because she seemed like a naive, barely cognizant person before, and now she's manipulating people in the background.
Yeah.
She actually is shady in a way that we didn't know about before.
It's kind of the thing about Twin Peaks, though. I think everybody's a little shady.
Yeah, everyone has an edge. Well, I think you brought up a few episodes back with Shelley with mocking the funeral for Laura Palmer.
Yeah.
Is everyone's got to have some shade of darkness to them. Except apparently for James, but we'll get to James in a bit.
The log lady seems pretty clean at the moment.
She does. I mean, we could shift over to the log lady, who is interesting. Well, again, I think there's a side effect of them not having everything planned out ahead of time, because how Truman and co deal with the log lady here doesn't quite gel with the earlier appearances. Because they're very much just, we're just going to treat you like an old friend. And there's never been an indication that they know her personally. They know who she is, but they've never actually interacted with her. But now, this seems like an inevitability that they've just brought Cooper here by a very convoluted path.
I kind of like the way the log lady is presented, because she's kind of like the local hedge witch.
Yes. Oh, very much is.
When they arrive there and they kind of comment, it's like, oh, were you expecting? And she said, oh, you were supposed to come 2 days ago.
Yes.
It's like Disney's Sword in the Stone with Merlin always knowing what's happened previously and is going to happen.
That makes me think then, is Scarlet Hollow a deliberate nod to this with Sybil? Is she meant to invoke the log lady, or is she the inspiration for Sybil in Scarlet Hollow?
So Scarlet Hollow, for people who haven't played it, is an episodic video game that isn't quite finished yet by Abby.
Black Tabby Games.
Black Tabby Games.
And we get an update on Friday, I think we are.
Yes, that's right. I think this is the 5th episode of it coming out now.
Yeah, I think so, yes.
But it's a text-based game, an episodic kind of visual novel style horror game. But the setting of Scarlet Hollow is very Twin Peaks-esque.
It's with the minds of a sawmill, but to think about it, yeah, this is very much a version of Twin Peaks they've concocted, isn't it?
But this is also what the Pacific Northwest is like. You also see this in a lot of other things. We've talked about Gravity Falls, we've talked about Alan Wake. I would argue something like Life is Strange True Colours. You very much got a Twin Peaks setting to that.
Absolutely.
So it is a common setting in games because it's just kind of what it's like.
I think it is the appeal of it. It's also it's the wrong side of the country, but it's very Lovecraft country. It's a isolated community closer to the wilds than you do if you're a suburban person.
Yeah. And I'd take your point when you said there's no sawmill in Scarlet Hollow. They do have a mine.
Yeah, mine is instead.
Instead. But it's just that kind of feel to it. It's, what do we call it? It's not the Southern Gothic, but it is the kind of, I guess, Northwestern American Gothic equivalent.
Yeah. I I don't think it's got a name, or maybe it does have a John and term we're not aware of. But it's just the T made me think of it as well, though. It's just how focused the log lady is on T and how T factors in Sybil in Scarlet Hollow.
Yeah, to be fair, though, we're from England, where if
Yeah,
someone came around, you would put the kettle on, cup of tea,
Yeah.
straight away.
But in American terms, though, it's more indicative of something.
True. But I like that sequence because she's talking about things matter of fact that seem to be deeply, deeply significant, but we don't quite understand them because she keeps mentioning the fire, as she does in her series introductions that they add later that we notice. And we know the significance of the phrase "fire walk with me."
Yes.
And also, for the first time as well, she's drawn attention several times to the owls.
Yes, and we kind of flagged that last time, and now we're getting something more with the whole "the owls can't see us" in here, which is an interesting thing to throw in.
Yeah.
And I realise at some point, and I don't know when we're going to want to do this, possibly not now, is we're going to have to talk about The Fourth Kind, the film.
The owls are laughing at me. The owls are smiling at me.
The Mila Jovovich film, which we went to see at the cinema, and I think I very quickly said, no, this isn't real.
But anyway, back to the log lady.
Back to the log lady.
Do we believe that her log actually does speak?
I'm going to go with yes.
You know, it's one of those weird things where I know she's portrayed as local crackpot, but I've never, in any time I've seen Twin Peaks, doubted that the log actually does communicate with her.
I think she's so serious. There's no winking to her. She's so deadly serious all the time.
And everyone treats her with the utmost courtesy.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting as well, though, because we alluded to it all the time, is Alan Wake. We have the lamp lady in Alan Wake who mimics a lot of Margaret's style and also her posture when cradling the log, and she cuddles the lamp in exactly the same way. So it's very much, they're meant to be read as the same kind of person. But I don't think I've ever doubted that Log Lady is being honest. I mean, further down the line, Firewalk with Me will basically corroborate her version of events here, almost exactly, with the participants filled in, because we've got some question marks on that.
At least we don't know who the third man is. We can hazard a guess at all the others.
Yeah, we suspect we know who the first two men are.
And at the very least, we know who the two girls must be because of the victims.
Yes.
Just continuing down that vein, because we have potentially found the scene of the crime now with Waldo the minor bird and everything else. It also gives us our next line of the clue of birds sing a pretty song, there's always music in the air.
Yes. Again, I imagine in the 90s and you're watching Twin Peaks for the first time, the clues are coming thick and fast and you think the answer's got to be coming soon. The gun that you like comes back in style, cannot be far off.
There is something I just want to note about that scene as well, because when we get to the end of this season, I actually do have a viewer poll from the time where they asked viewers to predict who they thought Laura Palmer's killer was.
Yeah.
Because, spoilers, it's not resolved by the end of the first season, which is only, I think, 2 or 3 more episodes now.
Yeah, we're not far off now.
But at the time this episode came out, people took that sequence to the Log Lady's bit and the bit in the cabin in the woods. And critics actually formulated a theory that Laura was still alive on the basis of this.
Okay. I mean, I'm not sure how you account for a dead body.
It's all based on 1940s films, which I'm not expecting you to know a lot about.
No, but, well, okay, so I'll just interrupt quickly there. I can only assume this has to involve Maddy in how the deception works. Obviously, it's got to be Maddy's body is the one they found by the side of the river, and Laura's actually dyed her hair and has taken over her life.
Not quite. It's not quite that elaborate.
Okay, go on then.
The names Lydecker and Waldo both come from a movie called Laura, which is about a fake death, which was made in 1944. And also the reference of the third man is another 1949. Yep, Orson Welles' The First Man, which is also about a character who fakes their own death. So they saw these as 2 elaborate 1940s movies nods to the fact that there hasn't actually been a murder at all.
I can imagine this is Mark Frost or David Lynch or both of them deliberately put these in. Both throw people. Okay, that's interesting. Now.
I feel Waldo and Lydecker, both being fairly unusual names, could be a reference. The third man could perhaps be a stretch there.
Yeah, I've seen other people make third man guesses, and it's one of those, really? Really? Because I've seen the third man. That's part of the film, but that's not the whole of the film.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But we've found or at least we seem to have collaborated some evidence here, because we found the broken one-eyed Jack's chip now.
Yep.
That quite blatantly is the one that we found in Laura Palmer's stomach.
Yes. Can't remember why that's in her stomach still, but we'll get there.
Which now draws a definitive line between One-Eye Jacks for the investigators, which we already kind of knew as the audience.
Yes, and we've also got the curious nature of the red drapes, the fact that that cabin has red drapes. In Cooper's dream, you can't ignore the red drapes in there.
Which is presumably where we've got the title of this episode for
I'm
as
going
well.
to say, maybe. I can't really make
It's
sense
the
of it.
first thing Cooper says when he sees the picture is the red drapes.
Yeah, I was going to say, though, why does Jacques Renault have that picture?
Just a picture of his random murder cabin.
Yeah, with the red drapes very visible in the... So, I understand to a point in fiction, especially like TV and stuff, you have to have the clues to point people to certain places, because in real life, things are never that neat and tidy, but usually the clue has to have... You want someone in the foreground of that photo and the cabin to be in the background for it to be a photo you would have.
I'm not entirely sure we even needed the cabin, because the log lady points them towards the ridge. You could have just had her pointing to the ridge and they find the cabin.
Yeah, I think it's the reason why they're in the woods, though. That's what they took it. They needed that as a reason.
But just
There were other
give
ways.
some other inelegant way that they can talk to the log lady, and she could have just sent them up there. You don't need the picture.
It's fair. I mean, they do, since Cooper does extrapolate there has to be a cabin without the picture because of the oil he finds deceitful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd say there's other ways of doing it.
I guess on that reckoning, things like Leo lives in a cabin. The oil could be for that, the heating oil. I'm sure there are lots of other people in that area with, as you say, it being so rural.
To dwell on Jacques Renault's apartment a little bit more, there's some weird inconsistencies in the filming of it, in that when they find a copy of Flesh World, Cooper's not wearing gloves, but then when through the rest of the investigations, they're scrupulously wearing gloves the entire time. It's kind of the whole... Or he gets it down with tweezers and then immediately starts opening it with his fingers. It's having watched the X-Files and a lot of police procedurals, you go, no, what are you doing?
Yeah, but on that basis, the entire forensic team are sat on the floor...
Eating donuts, yeah.
Wearing their gloves, eating donuts, which I'm sure is probably not police process either.
Yes, it's all very strange. Flesh World, a bit that you probably didn't think was going to come back. And again, it's such an odd device, I think.
So this is the Dirty Magazine.
Yeah, but it's also... It sounds like it should be a dirty magazine, but then it's also kind of a clearinghouse thing, isn't it? It's an odd... Apparently, it's more like a... it's basically...
Lads Mag?
Not Lads Mag, the...
What's Craigslist?
Craigslist, that's the word I was going for. It's basically a paper copy of Craigslist, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a classified.
Yeah. And it's interesting that it's happened twice, and I don't quite get why it's happened twice, is that Leo Johnson's truck is in there. It's just... Because... We saw it in the pilot, and then Cooper points out in this one, it's why? But the photos are like of, he thinks it's Laura in lingerie with her head sort of cut off by the cropping, but there are drips in the background.
Yeah.
And there's a photo of Ronette Pulaski in the pilot. Is Leo, what? Leo, you put a picture of yourself, not a picture of your truck. Is that going to do it for people?
Nothing's sexier than a big rig.
It's so weird. I'm just not sure why he's doing it. But it's a core sort of theme. I mean, it's presumably just feeding into the whole undercurrents of darkness in the community, as usual, in the fact that Laura shouldn't be in this situation, and Renette probably shouldn't be either.
I'm going to note, because it's relevant to, I think, every other character you're about to talk about,
Okay.
is apparently, at least in the director of this episode's perspective, the main theme of Twin Peaks is longing, which is what they were trying to get across here. The sense of kind of like unrequited love and longing and wanting something.
Yeah, I can see how we're going to get into that in a bit. Yeah, I can totally see that.
But yeah, I'm just going to throw that out there before you talk about all the other characters.
So, Bobby, you made a comment which I thought was interesting about Bobby, is that in memory, you didn't really like him, but on this rewatch, he's just fascinating. Everything he does.
You can't take your eyes off him.
No. And it made me think of, there's a anecdote I heard from someone about liking a monstrous person in a video game. So one of the examples would be someone like Sephiroth or Kefka, or anyone who either kills a lot of people or is just generally an unpleasant person.
They're all Final Fantasy villains, just for anybody who needs to be told that.
Fair point.
Yeah.
But it's like, but they have fans and people enjoy them and everything.
Yeah. Well, you can say the same thing about people who like Michael Myers slasher villains and things like that. And
there's a kind of a sort of puritanical stance from some people in fandom these days. It's like, how can you possibly like this person? They murdered X number of people or whatever. versus this other character, which is very plain, normal, and they're generally a good person. And I don't know quite where the quote originates, but someone pointed out it's like a case of so the murderer person hasn't committed any crimes in the real world, but this other character annoys me. So the crimes are fictitious. I'm still annoyed.
Yeah, I like it.
And so I can happily like the mass murderer because no one actually suffered. I'm not annoyed by the other person, and that's why I don't like them.
It brings to mind the famous Alan Rickman quote.
Yes.
There's a famous anecdote where Alan Rickman was at a party and a small child came up to him and said kind of like, Alan, why do you always play villains? And they were expecting a kind of harsh retort from Alan Rickman, who notoriously always wanted to play the hero but always got cast as villains.
He's so good at it, though.
And he responded by saying, I don't play villains, I play interesting people.
Yes.
It's like, well, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. So, but Bobby, anyways. It's interesting, because I'd have said that I'd thought James was better in the past, but we'll get to James in a minute, because I have words for James. Bobby is someone, again, that if you were being strictly moralistic, you shouldn't have any time for, because he's a drug dealer, he's trying to kill people, he's got into fights, he's an adulterer.
He's sleazy.
He's very sleazy, but good God, the guy is do a winning performance. Horribly miscast as Bobby Briggs, but he's still wonderful. But the one I made the comment to you before, though, and it feels a bit cruel to Bobby, but I can't not say it. So he goes to family counselling with his parents and Dr. Jacoby, which is a funny scene anyway. Just for anything with Jacobian is actually usually pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I can't focus on the bit, though, where Jacoby's talking to Bobby about the first time he made love with Laura. And Jacoby fills in the rest of it sort of saying, oh, did you cry and did she laugh at you?
Yeah.
And you said, obviously, it's a case of Laura has presumably told him this in confidence. But I kind of want it to be, that's the experience. And maybe Jacoby slept with her, and that's the experience he had. It's like, you just burst into tears afterwards and she does not care. Harsh, but I kind of like it as a weird thing. But
I like the duality of Bobby Briggs, though, because you have the scene kind of piggybacking off the bit where he has the odd sexy gun bit with Shelley, where it's all bravado and bluff and what I'd do if Leo came in here. And then you see vulnerable Bobby in tears because he's reminded about how Laura Palmer essentially emotionally manipulated and abused him.
Yes. Again, the dark half of Laura Palmer versus the virtuous one that everyone's on the surface.
But it gives you an impression of the kind of bluff, brash, obnoxious Bobby is not the real Bobby.
Yeah, well, I think we even saw that in the same scene, because as soon as they hear a car outside, he goes and hides in the pantry. Just absolutely quails away. As much as he's coached Shelley to sort of try and implicate Leo as much as she can.
Yeah.
He just runs at the slightest provocation. He's a complicated character. It's good. I like it. So I think we can then safely contrast him with James Hurley.
Your favourite character.
My favourite character. I kind of love for the absurdity of how they stage the scene with Donna. The fact that off screen, James has given Donna a note to meet him at the gazebo, and he just opens up with the truth about his parents.
Oh, I forgot about this when I was summarising the episode. Yes, that did happen.
It's so pointless. But it's just the whole, my father was a musician and he just left us, and my mother's an alcoholic who goes and shacks up with men on the weekend. And it's that, James, why did you feel the need to tell her this? He does have a reason.
It's the fact that nothing's especially shameful about it
No,
either.
it's like, it doesn't reflect badly on you, James.
It's not like saying that your mother collects Nazi memorabilia, I just needed you to know this, or something that would be controversial.
Yes. You've also got, it's the more troubling part, James, is that you were quite happy to enter into a relationship with Laura Palmer when she was with someone else.
Yeah.
Which is, that's not good, but we'll forgive you that for soap opera terms.
And the slightly awkward way that he looks at Laura Palmer's identical cousin.
We're going to get to Maddy in a second, because I think there's some interesting weirdness going on with her.
Mm.
I get that James's intention is for there to be no secrets. At the same time, you didn't need to tell her any of this. It's such a weird scene to throw in.
It's a very invitation to love scene to throw in, though.
I do enjoy the bit of invitation to love where you see, as you said, the Leo in Invitation to Love is so much more fun than the one we have.
Yes, I do like the Invitation to Love Leo, who's just cackling maniacal villain.
With a headband.
Yeah, and the dark glasses.
Yeah, he looks like Solid Snake. It's so weird. I love how we never get context for Invitation to Love. It's just like the most weird soap opera sequence.
but kind of mirrors what you're seeing in the episode in a really outlandish way.
Yes, which was the entire point of it. It's like, this is going to be the slightly obscure one. This is Revolutionary Girl Athena, where the Shadow Girls comment on the episode. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is just completely random, but sometimes they are actively sort of mirroring and reflecting on things.
So for the case of this one, our brief glimpse of Invitation to Love is vaguely mirrored by the bit with Leo and Shelley at the end.
Yeah. Shelley has dramatically stepped up things. She's shot her husband.
Yes.
I've always found the staging of this slightly odd because, sure, she does look like she's hit Leo. On the other hand, he doesn't seem to collapse and seems to just be enraged by it, but enraged in a way that leaves her unharmed, which is good for her. But it's a weirdly staged scene, though, just where she shoots at him and then covers her face in terror as Leo roars in the near distance.
Yes, I would have liked to have seen her riddle Leo full of bullets, I must admit.
Not just the one shot. We want more shots.
Double tap.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's the only way to survive.
Yeah, I guess it's I wouldn't normally condone gun violence in this sort of setting, but Leo did essentially beat her with what was it, a bag?
Soap. Bar of soap
in a sock, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, keep shooting. Double tap.
Interestingly, for temporal stuff as well, we have the fact that she and Norma actually went and had their whole glam up thing they said they were going to.
Yeah.
Which is odd, we're still sort of adhering to some kind of continuity, even when the series seems to be slipping a bit.
Mm.
Because of the back of... did Shelley have much else on this one? There were sexy times with Bobby.
And the bit where she incriminated Jock Renault.
That's true. Well, Leo and Jock Renault.
Yeah.
Maddy. Maddy is an interesting case now. And I was all put out that continuity error, I wondered if it was going to come in, where James introduced Donna to Maddy.
Yes.
It's like, Donna, you were at the house and Maddy walked into the room and sat down opposite you. No one said anything about it?
No, we just pretended like it was the Laura in the room.
You think that would be even more distracting?
Could you imagine not explaining it and your dead best friends just walked in through and sat down and just no one said anything?
Even more so if they dyed her hair or something.
Yeah.
Again, though, I find the stuff with Maddy, it's odd that they don't bring Audrey into the fold as a result of this, because here, stranger who James met yesterday, who is tangentially related to Laura and looks just like her, you are going to be inducted into our secret Find Out the Truth About Laura Palmer Club. But Audrey, who we don't know that well, but we know for longer, is not.
Yeah. I am curious what's going to go off with Hank, though, because we know that Hank is connected to Leo and Jock. And he was listening into their conversation about Laura's secret diary.
Yeah, although we don't understand why he'd care, given he's all bound up with the sawmill plot.
But when he beats on Leo at the end of it, we know that he's connected with them in some way, which means that he's probably connected with Laura Palmer, like everyone is.
Well, yeah, I suppose everyone is at this point.
I would like some clarity, as I said to you when we were watching it, of what his relationship with Norma was like, let's say. Because it's inferred the fact that they had a bad relationship with his constant saying, I need to prove myself to you, I can be a good husband. But we don't know what he actually did, so at the moment, the way it's framed, it kind of feels like Norma hated him because he had an unavoidable accident and killed a man.
Yeah, I think we might get explained further down the line, but I'm going to go with this point. You could extrapolate that given his scene with Leo where he beats him up and says, you were meant to tend the store, not open your own branch or something.
Yeah.
Is Norma's aware that he was involved in a lot more shady stuff, but nothing... It's one of those, how much can you turn a blind eye to your spouse kind of thing, of she knew he was involved in drugs or something, or some kind of violence, but there's no evidence for it kind of thing. Like, think it's Leo and Shelley's relationship, but without the abuse component.
Yeah, I don't get the impression there's any abuse.
No, but I think it's Shelley and Norma parallel each other that way. So Norma's aware of what Hank's been getting up to, but it's never been directed at her.
Yeah.
And it's with him being sent to jail, she's had the opportunity to just sort of see life so much better without him.
Yeah.
This is guessing, because I really do not remember how Hank goes at all, or what the reveal.
Without knowing why their relationship was bad, it just feels like Norma's unduly harsh. Because, again, he's on parole because it was a manslaughter charge. It was, the way it's framed anyway, because we don't know the full ins and outs, was he accidentally hit someone with his car.
Yeah.
it feels just harsh if your husband had an unavoidable accident. It's like, whoa, no, done with him. It's like, I don't understand. Please fill in the gaps, Twin Peaks, please.
Well, they might do.
Mm.
Go back to Maddy just quickly, though, because I think we'll move on to Norma. So we have Maddy doing kind of a messed up thing she's doing. I understand why she's doing it, and I think making her Laura's cousin is to give her enough degrees of separation for this to not feel as weird as it could do.
Yeah.
Like, if she was Laura's sister, I think this would be a no-go, but cousin, you've got the look for Laura's secret hiding place in her room. She does turn up something.
Yeah.
The fact an audio tape is interesting, because it's one of those, what could it actually be that she'd actually have stashed away? I wouldn't have guessed audio tape.
Yeah. I'm just curious how big these
The bedposts.
The bedposts must be to hide an entire audio tape in them.
Yeah, it depends. Well, when you say, I suppose that's actually a weird one. On Inflation, if you think about Laura Palmer's bed, because we see it quite a bit, it's like metal bedposts. It's like the kind of the curvy frame, isn't it?
The foot of it, definitely. I can't think what the head of it looks like.
I think you can see in Firework with Me is something to bear attention to. Of can she hide anything in that?
Because it's not a cassette tape; it's one of those proper thick.
Yeah, not like micro cassette, an actual like 80s style cassette tape. It could, I suppose. No, she does say the post because I would say it's like the legs of the bed, possibly.
No, she said the post unscrews.
Make of that what you will. We'll find out later down the line. But we have our adventure trio now, and you pointed out as well, there's the look that Donna gives James, however unintentionally, when she meets him and Maddy at the diner.
Yeah.
Oh, James, we feel you're going to do something stupid because you can't see past a physical similarity here. And Norma is splitting up with Big Ed.
Yeah.
Which is, well, yeah, she's trying to make the best of it because of what she said at the parole hearing, and that's going to cause Hank no manner of problems, and presumably she has the level of guilt. It's interesting, though, the contrast of neither of them want to upset anyone, which is presumably how they both, an explanation of at least how Big Ed wound up in this relationship with Nadine.
Yeah.
And Norma, I don't know if that's not Norma with Hank, but presumably whatever led to her and Ed splitting up in high school.
I don't know where it's actually said, but I did read that on Reddit the other day, on a thread where people were talking about Norma and Big Ed's relationship, but it commented on the fact that they split up because Norma cheated on him.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if it's been said or if it's expressively said anywhere, but that, according to the Reddit thread, that's the reason they broke up in high school, because she cheated on him with Hank.
I haven't noticed that yet, but that could be it.
Yeah.
So it's Hank all the way down. He's causing all the problems in the world.
Indeed, yep.
Jerk. I like how all their stuff is done. It's sort of, as you said, though, without seem of longing, these two probably exemplify it the best. Or at least they're the best actors to do it. Because I would say James certainly has a longing for Laura Palmer that'll never be sated, but we don't really care about James. Hank and Big Ed and Norma, though, really do. It's very palpable in all their interactions.
You get it a lot in Audrey and Cooper as well.
That's true.
And we could also argue things, you've got longing in the sense of anybody who's vying for that land in the sawmill.
Yeah.
You've probably also got longing in the relationship with James and Maddy.
Yep.
There's definitely some long glances there. You've got Shelley and Bobby longing for something that isn't Leo.
Yep.
But basically I'd take anyone.
Oh, yeah. Shack up with anyone, it's fine.
But yeah, you've got a lot of this idea throughout the series.
You made me realise something, and I don't know if it's an intentional critique or it's an incidental byproduct of the Ghostwood estate plot and the sawmill stuff. They want to burn down the sawmill.
Yes.
Because they want to grab the land to use for a retail development, a housing development. We're not entirely sure what it is. Or summer homes. It's a development of some kind.
I can't remember what they said it was now, no.
The interesting thing, if you reflect on it, is the sawmill presumably is the major industry in Twin Peaks. They want to burn it down and build something else. They're putting all the people who work in the sawmill out of work because they're not going to be employed at this new development thing. So they're going to actually kill the town by doing this. Not immediately, but a decade or two down the line, there's no industry, there's no reason to live here. Because they're not going to have tourism.
Got to admit, a similar thing happened in my hometown when I was a kid. Because I'm from the north where...
Thatcher.
Thatcher destroyed everything. But industry was a big thing. And it wasn't timber in my hometown, it was steelworks.
Yeah.
And, when everything was essentially roboticized and they halved, triple, I think it was something like 90% of the workforce got laid off because, a machine could do what people could do better.
Yeah.
Essentially, my hometown became a ghost town.
It's also like Full Monty as well, has this as the background.
Yeah. But you see it a lot in the north of England due to Thatcher and the end of the age of industrialisation, basically.
Yeah. But it's only just occurred to me that I'd have no idea if Twin Peaks is intentionally critiquing it or not, but Ben Horne will do this to Twin Peaks if this goes through. Is the town isn't going to last.
Yeah.
We know the town will last 25 years, but it's a fictional town, so it will turn up eventually, but...
Normally people kind of coddle themselves by saying there won't be any loss of jobs because they'll just be employed in retail co instead of the timber mill.
But it doesn't quite work like that. Because I think it's one of those, if you don't know how historically towns and economies developed, is the town centers itself around the industry that it was created for.
Yeah.
And if you take the industry out, the town starts to lose cohesion and starts to lose the point of why it's even there. And
as I understand, America's full of ghost towns like this, like old mining towns and stuff.
The boom bust thing of they find the gold mine in the desert, the town develops, runs out of gold, the town ceases to have a function.
And people move away and eventually it's just deserted.
And there are times when things can pivot and the capitals weather this because generally the industry stuff is outside of them and wealth flows into them because all the rich people are there. Capitalism is a terrible system.
Yeah.
We could do Audrey. I want to say, I don't know if Audrey is doing a literary reference, although I imagine there's probably plenty of examples of it.
In which part?
The part where she blackmails the manager of Thorne's department store.
I like that scene.
Oh, it's Audrey is, she keeps saying she's the femme fatale, she knows what she's doing and she's going to do whatever she wants to get at. But just for me being really pretentious, there's a Borges story about, and I read it a long time ago and I can't remember the ins and outs of it, but she's trying to frame her boss for some reason and basically she fakes a sexual assault, but it also involves sleeping with him beforehand.
Okay.
And it's, Audrey's thing is a stage 2 or removed from that, but it's going in that direction from her threats.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So I don't know if that's a deliberate nod to Borges or that's just there's enough film noir stuff where this kind of thing happens that you could sort of just accept that, yes, the femme fatale has faked an attack and, yep, the circumstances don't look good for the man. It's also, furthermore, not necessarily sexist, though, because Fight Club pulls this exact same stunt.
I was about to say Fight Club, yeah.
Fight Club does the same thing to the same kind of effect, but in a lot more brutal way.
Yeah.
I do wonder, though, what's happening in continuity terms with Audrey in this episode a bit. Because I get Thorne's apartment store, that's carrying on from last time, that's fine. But are we suggesting that Audrey isn't processing things quite as we might expect them, or is she using other emotions to cover things? Because when she sees Ben Horne and Catherine canoodling, she starts laughing. And then a few minutes later, when she's watching Catherine dance with Leyland, she starts breaking down in tears and then sneaks into Cooper's bed.
Interestingly, you're saying that's hard to read now, but it might be a throwback from a deleted scene.
Ah, I did wonder. Okay, that makes sense.
There is a deleted scene in this episode where she sadly recalls a time she pushed Johnny down a flight of stairs.
Ah, okay.
And I couldn't find out whether it was exactly that point, but I did see a reading where people commented that might have been a holdover of her crying because of this previous memory. And just the way it's cut now, it looks like she's crying because she's watching Leland's breakdown.
Yeah, because that makes a bit more sense, because I realised they can't cut the rest of it out because she needs to wind up in Cooper's bed for the next episode to start.
I do think it still works because she's a lot more emphatic towards Leyland. It's what I commented on last time, is most of these people are supposed to be Leyland's friends and close co-workers, and they've just kind of abandoned him in his hour of need. Like in this episode where Leyland comes and says, look, I need to work, and they send him home.
Yeah.
These are your friends that should be helping you to get through this. Leyland at least thinks Ben Horne is his friend. And it's just that now he's a bit of a liability. They don't want anything to do with him.
Yeah, I say there are ways of reading it. It just feels a bit that she sort of has bipolar, basically, and she's just shifted emotions very, very rapidly.
Yeah. I was thinking with Leyland Palmer, actually, that if you had good friends, the Pennsylvania 65000 scene could have been heartwarming.
He could have.
Because it'd be the idea that his best friend Catherine had rushed in and was trying to hide the fact that he was having a breakdown by making it look like a dance, just so nobody was staring at him.
Which she is, but for not the same right
No,
motives.
she's doing it to dispel it so it doesn't look bad in front of the investors.
Yeah. I'll come to Leland in a minute, so just to dwell on Audrey a bit more. It's kind of disheartening to see Cooper brush her off. I mean, I know that he has justifications for why, because he's exhausted. And she's also just being her usual femme fatale self, but it's disappointing to sort of see him just brush by her when they've had all these other moments together.
I do like the moment where he asks her how old she is.
Yes. It's yep, it's all above board as long as Audrey's telling the truth.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she is 18 is the only thing, but if she's 18, at least Cooper's determined it's all above board now.
Yeah, I think she is in terms of, because they're in the final years of high school, so it's all very much down to when your birthday falls.
I did read a comment from the director of this episode that said that every writer and director put in these moments that raised the sexual tension between Cooper and Audrey, but she said even at the time, none of them had any intention of making it go anywhere. So even at this point, when we debated previously, if there was originally an idea to do this, there wasn't, apparently.
Okay.
It was just there for titillation and they were never going to be together.
Okay. I mean, Audrey just has seemingly now forced the point, and it very much depends on how Cooper's going to react to this.
Yes, that's quite an ending.
It's quite an ending. It's one of those, Audrey, it'd probably be better if you weren't crying your eyes out.
I love the fact that Leo's been shot, but this is our cliffhanger.
What a cliffhanger. Yeah. Well, you don't want to say anymore, or you don't want to dwell on the fact that TV was inherently sexist in the 80s and 90s. I mean, it's still sexist today, but it's kind of mitigated it in a bit of way. But for your male viewers, it's like, how best to get them to watch the next episode by saying, here is Cheryl and Fenn not wearing anything in Cooper's bed. Ho ho, guess what you're getting next time? Not that!
You're going to be so disappointed.
Leyland's not doing too well.
My heart bleeds for Leyland.
Yes. I do have a question, though. Is who put Pennsylvania 65,000 on?
Just in the middle of Jerry's speech.
Because they're not expecting it.
No.
And Leyland's in the middle of the dance floor, so it's not him. Someone else has put it on deliberately.
Yeah.
And I think that's possibly another editing mistake, because I'm sure there must be some reason why he got to start playing. Because it's just, out of the blue.
I think that's one of the scenes that sticks with you, though. The Pennsylvania 65,000 scene is very, very memorable.
Yes. Just a man who cannot cope with the situation.
And, as I keep hammering home,
I know.
Should have a safety net, but doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got their family friends, the Haywoods, who are not there for them in any way.
Are the Haywoods actually there?
They weren't present at this one, no. But we got Pete Martell, who was massively affected by Laura Palmer, who is in the room.
That's true.
Who does nothing. Catherine only rushes to kind of calm him down because Ben makes her do it.
Yes, because otherwise the deal might go through.
Ben, who Leyland thinks is his friend, does nothing.
Yeah. Ben's a bit of a jerk. Wow, I always say he's a bit
Oh,
of a jerk.
yeah.
we could dwell on Ben Horn. Ben Horn's kind of becoming a villain in the series, but he's not the villain anyone cares about, because people care who killed Laura Palmer. Ben Horn's a weird distraction, it feels. It's like he's there because the soap opera needs someone like him in this time period.
Yeah. You need your detestable industrialist.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of interesting that everyone involved in the running with the plant is female. I know it's because of things like Josie's husband being out the picture and stuff like that. But usually you'd expect there to be men in these positions.
Yeah.
And I guess it's by the fact that Catherine and Josie are both female that you have these male characters coming in to try and manipulate them.
Yeah, that's true.
It wouldn't work if it was a male plant owner in the same way.
No, but again, that's why you bring in the femme fatale of someone like Audrey who's going to seduce someone.
Yeah.
Though, I would say for Ben Horn, I understand him to a point. So, when you've got your Icelandic investors, are you really taking them over the border into Canada to a brothel? Is this... I think it might work if the entire team is male, although one of them is definitely a woman because Jerry's so into her. But you're taking them over the border to a brothel? I know you may be going to say, we'll stick to the casinos, but you want to go...
There was something in the UK, and I don't know if it's something that used to happen, but it'd be taking people to, like, strip clubs and stuff like that was an acceptable night out. So, like, if you were in certain businesses, taking your clientele to the strip club
I don't think there's much else to Ben Horn other than, the mill plot is becoming so complicated now.
But we're only a day away from potential arson,
We
so
are.
it's gonna come to a head, let's say.
Yeah. I don't think there's much to say about Jerry other than Jerry is very much just kind of an extension of Ben. He's just like a comic relief version of it.
I love how different they are. Jerry's tremendously good fun.
He is. I like Jerry a lot.
I love Jerry's whole subplot with his Icelandic goddess or whatever he calls her.
Taller than he is.
Yeah. But when he walks into the office and just throws down the leg of lamb she's given him.
He's definitely got a thing about food. He always brings food with him.
Oh, like the weird sandwich.
Well, the baguette. They were baguettes.
Yeah.
3 baguettes or something. And there's, that's the point. Ben Horn's wife hasn't been in an episode for a while.
She probably left him over that incident.
She might have done. Okay, so just random bits and pieces that I kind of liked. I do like, and it's the offhand comment, but it feels really pertinent and other people have done more with it. There's the thing where the Briggs family family counselling.
Yes.
And it's quite fun to sort of see how they did that with the focusing on the dad and mum and this little quick sort of cutting between them. And it's only after a little bit that you reveal that Bobby's just there beside them, just slumped over, not caring.
Yeah.
But there's the whole thing where Jacoby says to Bobby, he's like, have you killed anyone? And he says, no, but my dad has.
Yeah.
And his dad just said, oh, in terms of war. And I've seen it highlighted elsewhere. It's that weird dichotomy with soldiers.
Yeah.
Is that it doesn't count despite the fact, yes, you literally have murdered someone.
The Father Ted line where they say, a number of lives irreversibly damaged. Oh, they were only nuns.
Yeah, nuns are people too. But it's a weird thing where I think also The Simpsons had that gag of men are being trained to kill mere 5 miles from where you live. I call it the Killbot Factory. The US government calls it the army.
Yeah.
Especially when you talk about Jacoby.
Yeah.
So Jacoby, I don't know what else to say about him really, other than obviously he's trading on what he knows more about. He knows a lot more than everyone else seems to at this point. In fact, I think he might know the most about everything. Because presumably Laura's been pretty forthright with the confessions to him.
Yeah.
Because like you said, as much as I want the experience of sleeping with Laura Palmer to be you burst into tears afterwards, it makes far more sense that she related her experience with Bobby to him, and that's why he knows that's what it was like for Bobby.
Yeah.
And that Dr. Patient confidentiality means that theoretically Jacoby knows basically everything.
Yeah.
He doesn't know who Leo is, though. And that's something that she hasn't told him as far as we can tell.
Yeah, true.
And quite why she'd hold that bit back, I don't know. And we do know that we now have Waldo has now been found, and Waldo being a minor bird, if you're aware of bird species, might lead you to have an inkling of what they can do with Waldo now they have him. If you're thinking Ace Attorney, you're on the right track. Because, minor birds are famous for something. Anything else you want to bring up?
No, I think I've covered everything. I didn't have a lot of trivia for this episode.
No, it was a lot more straightforward. And it's also, I suppose it's curious to note that this is the first time Mark Frost has done an episode solo.
Yes.
David Lynch wasn't involved in this one.
Interestingly, this is the point where the ratings started to dip a bit as well.
I'm not surprised, despite really hammering the clues through pretty fast, because they are going through all of them, and we'll point out that one of them they really don't know what to do with. But yeah, it didn't surprise me that the ratings are starting to dip a little bit, which is disappointing though, because it's just. I'd say the weird thing though, from a modern perspective, it's Twin Peaks is actually sort of starting to fire on all cylinders, is because you've got everything going off. The regular soap opera plot, absolute weirdness with the log lady, and just inferring owls are troublesome. And Laura Palmer's duplicate wandering around.
You have at least 3 psychic people in the plot.
Yep. We've got basically narrowed down the possibilities to know exactly who was in the red cabin with Laura and Ronette at the time of her murder, with there being another person that remains unknown for now.
But in the same breath, we haven't truly identified Bob.
No, we don't know.
So there is a potential of Bob being the third person.
That's the point. There is a insinuation. The only thing that sort of kind of scuppers that a bit is that Sarah's vision of Bob is really outside of concrete reality.
Yeah.
He can't possibly be where she saw him at any point in the interim. Okay, so next time is...
Realization time.
And I imagine that some people are going to get really excited hearing that title, but no, not yet. Not yet.
Still way off that.
Still aware of it. And again, I think we can say without like tipping anything too much, is that you will know the solution before the rest of the cast. For viewers of Twin Peaks, you will understand how it works before Dale Cooper does. It's an interesting position to actually be in, to actually watch it all slot into place. But yeah, you will find out before he does, so take that as a indicative thing of not yet. It's a while off. If you'd like to get hold of us, our email address is thingsagainsstrange42@gmail.com.
You can also find us on social media, and please do hook me up if you'd like us to promote anything Twin Peaks, X-Files or Garth Marenghi related at the start of this show. You can find us on Blue Sky or Tumblr at GetStrange42, or on Facebook by searching for Things Are Getting Strange, a Twin Peaks Rewatch podcast. Also, if you're not sick of my voice right now, I do stream live on Twitch TV under the name AdverseCamber42, Mondays and Wednesdays at 8pm GMT and Saturdays at 5pm GMT, where I'm currently playing Black Myth Wukong on PlayStation 5, Kingdom Hearts Re-Chain of Memories on PlayStation 4, and The Wolf Among Us on Steam.
Our theme music is A Vision by Kevin MacLeod. You can find it on thecomptech.com, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. Thank you all for listening, and until next time, please remember, I've got the pictures to prove it.